Hello, my friends. Welcome back. In the standing position. Place them on the breath. 3, 2, 1. Begin. Move the mind to the top of the head. Stretch it to the hands. Top of the head. Stretch it to the feet. 5 points. Begin walking with 5 points. Release the 5 points. Establish 6 directions with the body. Front, back, left, right, up, down. Hold. If the eyes aren't open the eyes. Split your attention 70-30 on the eyes. With the eyes, front, back, left, right, up, down. Pressure both. Front, tactile visual. Back, tactile visual. Left, tactile visual. Right, tactile visual. Up, tactile visual. Down, tactile visual. keeping about 40% of your awareness in the visual and the tactile. Move 60% over to sound. As best you can, maintaining visual and tactile, begin to open the sound gate, front, back, left, right, up, down. Rebalancing all three now, refreshing each one in order. Front, tactile, visual, sound. Back, tactile, visual, sound. Left, tactile, visual, sound. Right, tactile, visual, sound. Up, tactile, visual, sound. Down, tactile, visual, sound. Maintain about a third of your awareness on each of the three gates. If you need to stand still, you can. It's more important that you learn how to do the gates than being able to do it moving. Just as when we did this exercise only with tactile sensation, if you're moving and you find that you're losing the awareness of one of the gates, you can stop, reestablish that particular gate without losing the others, and then carry on. For some of you, this is already going to be very difficult or impossible, so just stay there. If any of you have been doing this a while and happen to stumble on this video, you can carry on with the next sense. Smell, front, back, left, right, up, down, holding four gates. Fresh, whichever gates you're using. Front, tactile, visual, hearing, smell. Back, tactile, visual, hearing, smell. Left, tactile, visual, hearing, smell. Right, tactile, visual, hearing, smell. Up, tactile, visual, hearing, smell. Down, tactile, visual, hearing, smell. Okay, take a short rest. Bring your awareness to the tongue now. Take note that when you're doing awareness of smell, that you're not becoming aware of the tactile sensations of breathing. This is a common error. Likewise, when you become aware of taste, you're not becoming aware of the tactile sensations of the tongue. The tactile sensations of breathing are part of the tactile body. The tactile sensations of the tongue are part of the tactile body. But smells are not tactile sensations, and tastes are not tactile sensations. So bring your attention to taste awareness. Just as with hearing, smell, and so forth, much of your taste awareness won't have particular any particular taste in it, although usually the inside of your mouth does have a taste, either slightly sweet or slightly sour or something that you ate recently. But once again, you're not trying to focus in on particular objects. That would be a type of meditation where you're holding a particular object rather than opening one of the sense gates and abiding on the fundamental nature or the fundamental properties of one of your consciousnesses. So, do your very best to bring your awareness to the furthest point forward where taste could occur without focusing in on the tactile sensations inside your mouth or on your tongue. Try to become aware of the furthest point forward where it seems as though taste could occur, and to make that part of the gustatory awareness active and ready to have a taste occur at any moment. Move your awareness to the furthest point back where taste could occur. Furthest point to the left. Furthest point to the right. The highest point. And the lowest point. Now, once again, as best you can, stretch the awareness of taste forward and backwards. Let the mind fill all of the area in the sphere of taste where taste could occur if there were tastes occurring to the front and the back, left and right, up and down. I want to remind you once again that this has nothing to do with your teeth, nothing to do with underneath your tongue, the roof of your mouth, the location where it seems that taste is occurring inside your head. All of that has to do with proprioception. In other words, where your tongue and mouth and teeth and so forth are located in space, which is part of your tactile awareness. The actual faculty of taste, in and of itself, is, like smell and sound, significantly formless. So if your awareness is focusing in on your teeth or the space inside your mouth, then let go of the awareness of the body and space and focus solely and exclusively on the type of awareness that becomes aware of tastes. Combining directions as best you can. Refreshing if you've already combined directions. Front to back. Adding on left, right. Adding on up, down. Very good, my friends. Well done. Not easy. You probably got a sense from today, at least I hope you did, these two sessions, that maintaining the sense gates open, refreshing them, etc., even in a basic movement like walking, is not easy. And trying to do two of them, three of them, four of them at once, while the environment is moving, even when it's predictable, inside your house, for example, where you're moving back and forth in one area, but the sound is changing, the vision is changing, etc. This is much more difficult than doing it in a seated position, where nothing, or very little, relatively speaking, is changing in the visual field, as an example, or very little is changing in the tactile field, for example. Much easier to train in a seated position, right? Likewise, hopefully you noticed that when you were doing the standing version of opening auditory, opening smell, opening taste, this was, relatively speaking, easier than when you were trying to take even one of them into a moving situation. So if you want the ability to generate concentration in more and more and more demanding circumstances, then you have to train progressively through a series of steps and stages that gives you those capabilities. They're not just going to happen by magic. They're not going to happen by osmosis, just by being somewhere and training in a lot of other things. You have to specifically train yourself to build up those skills piece by piece until you have the skill. So you train seated. You build up a certain capability seated. Then you need a version of that or an extension of that capability that you can do standing. Then you need an extension or a version of that you can do walking. And you need to gain actual capability, actual accomplishment in each area. And then when you leave your room, when you leave the meditation hall, right? Then you can start taking it into basic stuff. When I'm standing at the grocery store, I open the gates. And just as an example, once you get relatively good at this, I have all five gates open right now. I'm talking to you. It doesn't look like I'm doing anything. So I can move normally. I can talk normally. I can do silly things, right? And the gates can stay open and I can stay in a highly concentrated state. At first, you'll probably be like this, right? And you'll look weird. And this is part of why you need to train these things privately until they become more natural, more normal. Because then, once again, one of the big hindrances you're going to have if you want to take this stuff into real life is that it's embarrassing, frankly. It's funny, even on live, you get to see a little bit of it where people sort of stumble through the lives and they'll see you walking back and forth, or they'll see you standing, or they'll see you sitting, and you can see the comments that they make. Some part of our brain, there's like a little itch back here where we go, well, if I'm doing this in real life and it looks weird, that's embarrassing. People notice. It looks like I'm whatever, right? So you need to train these skills until they don't look like anything at all from the outside, right? Is this making sense? So once you've trained these skills to the point where they don't look like anything at all from the outside, then you can train them all the time and nobody needs to know what you're doing. And they don't look doesn't look unusual. Like if I remove the awareness down to about 5-10% to the other senses and I move it all to the body, now it looks a little bit unusual on my face, right? Because there's so much attention going into the body that the eyes are kind of gray and pixelated. It's harder to hear things. And so this looks unusual. I look strange, right? So if the only practice you have is body scanning or intensive breath, then this is how you're going to look when you try to do things, right? You look weird. And a lot of people say, "Oh, well, I already take my body scanning into real life, or I already take my breath practice into real life." No, you don't. You don't. You know how I know? Because you would look totally insane and disconnected from what's happening if you could take those practices into real life. If you could place even 90% of your awareness on the breath while you were doing something, you would look like this. Because the awareness gets pulled there and you don't have the bandwidth to do other stuff. And if you're not doing that, then you're not doing the practice. If you're not pulling the bandwidth, then you're not doing the practice. Likewise, if I put all my awareness to the best of my ability on the body, and my vision is like almost completely gone. It's like almost black. This is what I you know this this is what I look like moving around. I look totally weird. I look like I'm blind. So unless you can pull 80, 90, 95% of your awareness to the body and do body scanning or body meditation, you're not doing that in real life. So you're not actually doing that practice in real life if you're just sort of vaguely scanning the body. Also, if you get really good at body scanning and then your mind's just running around randomly inside your body when you're doing other things, that's actually distraction. You have cultivated a new type of distraction where you become really aware of the shoulder and then this and that, and you're constantly moving around and trying to get the body more comfortable and so on. And that's actually kind of an unfortunate side effect of doing this training. You will become more aware of your body and then you'll start to you'll want to change stuff because you know where the discomfort is and you know how to fix it, and right. So that will happen, but at the same time, if you're doing that, that's actually distraction. Your mind is now it's like you're in a garden and your mind is like, "Ooh, look at that flower over there. Oh, look at this over here. What's that on the ground?" The mind is running around inside the body like a playground and jumping onto stuff it really likes. Oh, that shoulder feels great now. Oh, but the neck. Okay, the neck's not that. What was that thing? Okay, do I need to adjust it here? Do I take it up? Do I take it down? Do I take it forward? Do I take it back? Do I put the mind in the armpit? Okay, if I put it there, does it? Oh, yeah, the armpit. Now it's releasing. It's open. Meanwhile, I'm in a business meeting or whatever, or you're in a meeting at work, and your mind is totally distracted as you scan your shoulder, which wasn't the task you set for your mind. Which means what? It's not training. The intent was, I'm going to this meeting to learn what I'm supposed to do at work, to be better at my job, to be more effective. That was the active act you intended to do, and now you're running around inside your shoulder like it's a playground. You see it? So That's actually like a meditator's advanced version of being distracted by a virtuous thing. You've gained the ability to do something other people can't do, and it has an element of virtue in it because the mind is developing more concentration, more self-awareness, but you're applying it when it's not appropriate. So now it's a new type of distraction towards virtuous things. This is actually in the classics. As one of my teachers said on one occasion, you used to reek of delusions, now you reek of Zen. What is that? Styles? Styles, that's actually a really good point. So, yes, eventually the meditation does you. You don't do the meditation. So, yes, the results will carry over into other things. But when you're applying deliberate effort, it will be more. When you're not applying deliberate effort, the results of that will still carry on and you're sort of passively cultivating, you might say. But then when you're deliberately applying effort, it will become more, right? So to zoom back out again, there's no real way, for example, to apply body scanning meditation at the level that we're training here in retreat to real life. Because if you were to try to do that, the mind absorbs in, the vision starts to turn off, hearing starts to turn off, etc. And you can't do other things while you're doing that. I mean, you could do it at a bus stop or something, but then you're sitting there like this at the bus stop, right? And you look like a weirdo. So there's an expression in the Taoist classics, hide the jade of your practice. It's like you have a like imagine you were carrying around a diamond or a ruby and it was worth a couple million bucks, right? Would you just sort of would you like have it on your I mean, I know some people are like this. Hopefully we're not like this, right? But would you just have it like on a thing just sticking out for everyone to see? You know? No. You take the most valuable stuff and you wrap it up somewhere and you put it somewhere safe. So the way that you do this with your practice, which is important for your ego, by the way, because I know with respect, stylies, with respect, if you run around looking weird because you think it's a spiritual thing, what you're actually doing is you're signaling to other people, by the way, I'm a really cool spiritual guy. If you get to know me, I'm going to teach you about the truth of stuff. Look at how aware of myself I am. I'm not even aware of what's happening around me, right? So you're this is what my teacher called making the king sweep the palace floor. You're taking the one thing that can take you out of all this nonsense. You're taking the one thing that can free you from yourself, and you're turning it into one more thing to bind yourself. You're turning it into one more thing to make yourself seem really important and big and huge in the eyes of other people. By the way, this is why, I mean, I'm in retreat now, but this is why you don't see me wearing malas. This is why I have a normal haircut. This is why I wear normal clothing. None of this has anything to do with your training. You don't have to look like an Indian or a Tibetan if you're living in the West. If you happen to be Indian or Tibetan, you can dress like an Indian or a Tibetan. Dress normally like the people in your culture. You don't have to have a funny hairstyle. You don't have to have spiritual jewelry. Unless it's directly related to a practice you're doing right then at that time. And in that case, generally speaking, you put it somewhere that people don't see it. Because this doesn't, when you're doing it properly, it doesn't look like anything from the outside when you're out in the world. The only effect is that for some reason people go, you know, that guy's pretty humble and that guy's pretty, seems pretty capable. And he really pays attention and he listens when I talk. And he seems to care how it's going to turn out for the business and for his friends, for his family. For other people that he randomly meets, he'd literally take his shirt off his back and give it to him if they needed it. You know, as you said, Stylies, it's becoming natural, not becoming unnatural. It's becoming a real human being for the first time. Instead of just being driven by your preferences, including your preference to be seen as a deep spiritual important, oh yeah, I'm like Mr. Big Guru guy now. Now that I can trigger my Kundalini, I should start a Facebook group where people listen to me about triggering Kundalini. So the more that you can make this not look like anything, the more you can make this not look like anything at all from the outside, the more time you have to practice at a high level. The more it looks like practice from the outside, the more it attracts attention, the less you're able to actually attack the problem. Even if you're doing real practice, for example, you're sitting in the business meeting and you put the attention in the body and you look all weird. Okay, yeah, maybe there's some legitimate practice going on there, but you're missing something because you set the intent to do something else when you walked into that room and now you're doing this. So is that training? When you chase the desire, the attachment to certain kinds of practices because you think they're nicer than the thing that you set out to do? Is that training? When you don't follow the intention you set and you're putting yourself first instead of the needs of the entire circumstance first, is that training? Is it training when you put the interests of yourself over the interests of all the people you're working with by not paying attention to whatever it is you need to be paying attention to in the meeting? Because the whole circumstance is depending upon you. Now here's the to unwind all that. You're sitting there in the meeting, you open the visual gate, you open the auditory gate. It doesn't look like you're doing anything. I'm doing that right now. I'm talking, I'm moving, I'm listening, I can hear myself, and I absorb every bit of information at the meeting while also doing real practice, but nobody knows. Nobody sees anything. It doesn't look like anything. There's no place for my ego to go, oh, I'm really special now. Right? Or less, at least. Less. Less place. Okay, that's your Dharma talk before the long break for lunch. For those of you who are doing the whole retreat, stylies, if you're going to come for the afternoon sessions, the next one is at 3 London time, and then 4 London time, and then 5 London time. Okay? Enjoy your lunch or your break, as the case may be. See you soon.